I don't know how long this video is going to be. This is completely on the fly. I have nothing scripted whatsoever. I just feel like I needed to talk about this because this really pissed me off and really annoyed me for multiple reasons, and I'll go to that. I'll explain that in a minute. But basically, I have a video that I posted where I talk about the wage gap, the gender wage gap myth, how there is no actual wage gap between the genders. And this person posted a comment. Now, my friend is the one who responded to the comment and had like a little back and forth with this guy, because my friend who runs the channel is also an anti-feminist. Well, sort of. He doesn't really call himself an anti-feminist, but he is against the feminist point of view. Well, their actions, I guess, is the best way to put it. And he went back and forth. And basically this guy, I assume it's a guy I don't know, posted a comment saying that, like, basically it's bullshit that I'm an anti-feminist and that I'm against my mom's rights and I'm against women's rights. Now, the part that pissed me off is the thing basically where he said I was insulting my mom, my birth mom, by being against women's rights is how he stated it, which is absolute bullshit if you understand anything about feminism and anti-feminism. I, just like almost every other anti-feminist out there, am an egalitarian. I am for equal rights of the genders. That's what an egalitarian is. There is no inequality of the genders in terms of rights that are measurable and actually fixable, other than, actual statistics, like the actual factual statistic that women spend 60% less time in jail for the same crimes that men commit. So that's kind of messed up, but whatever. But I'm a gender egalitarian, meaning I'm for equal rights of women. I'm an anti-feminist because I'm against the feminist movement. I'm not anti-women's rights. I'm anti-feminist. There's a difference. You see, feminism, in theory, is for women's rights. Well, they love to say for gender equality, even though they're not. But they're in theory for women's rights, but they're so poisonous that I can't support a movement like that. I've already explained this in another video, but I'll bring it up again. For example, the abolitionist movement was a very courageous movement and very great movement. I would have been an abolitionist. For those that don't know, the abolitionist movement was back when the U.S. had slavery. The abolitionist movement was for abolishing slavery, getting rid of slavery. So the abolitionists were people against slavery, and the slave masters, I guess is what you'd call them, were for slavery. So the abolitionists were the good guys back then. However, let's say we go back to that time period and there was the same thing going on, the abolitionist movement and then the slave owners who were against the abolitionist movement. So there would be numerous positions. I don't really know how to word it, but basically there'd be the abolitionist movement, there'd be anti-abolitionist movement, and there'd be anti-equal rights would be the best way to put it. So someone who's an abolitionist would be someone who is completely for the abolitionist movement and what it stands for. Someone who's anti-abolitionist would be against what the abolitionist movement stands for, not necessarily against equal rights, although in that time period they would be. And then someone who is against equal rights is against equal rights. They're a racist or sexist and are despicable human beings. Now, let's say that the abolitionist movement, just like the feminist movement nowadays, was extremely poisonous and did not, and in a lot of cases, stood for some very dangerous ideologies. Then being an anti-abolitionist would not make me a racist. You see, I would be anti-abolitionist if the abolitionist movement was as poisonous as the feminist movement is. for example, perpetuating myths like the wage gap. That is a very dangerous from a supposedly equal rights movement to have to perpetuate a myth and a lie in order to make a point. So much so that even the president, Barack Obama, has admitted that he believes in the gender wage gap. That's when you know a movement is poisonous, when you have to go off of lies and myths. You see, there are feminist economists, people who study this, who are feminists, who say the gender wage gap does not exist. The people who actually study this, who look at the data and see that, okay, on face value, yes, there is, but that's when you don't take in position, experience, degree, and all these other factors that when you factor them in, go away completely. Now, moving on to, I'm insulting my mom. There are two people in my life. There are two women who are heavily in my life. That'd be my mom, who I live with during the summer because I'm in college. So during the school year, I'm away from her. But who I've lived with and who has been there as a stay-at-home mom for 20 years of my life. And then my girlfriend, who I've been dating for coming up on 3 years now. Two women who are very close to my life, who I want to have equal rights. Both of those women, including one who is in her 50s, who has experienced a lot of things, including the workforce. She used to work. She disagrees with feminism. She would never call herself an anti-feminist because she's not proactive like I am. But she laughs at what the feminist movement stands for. These things that I tell her, these things that I show her. When I show her about things like manspreading, feminists complaining about manspreading, she laughs. When I show her things about these feminists who are like, oh, free the nipple, she laughs. When I show her things about feminists complaining about wanting to not shave, which is absolute bullshit, she laughs. Because she knows that, oh, okay, if you don't want to shave, just don't shave. There is no law or requirement for you to shave. And the same thing with my girlfriend. I've discussed, me and my girlfriend discuss these controversial topics and these big topics at length. My girlfriend's a Christian, so we oftentimes talk about religion. We don't debate at all. But we talk about religion. She likes to hear my side of things because she knows that I've done research and that I look deeply into these things. And so we talk about feminism, especially because she has some friends that are feminists as well. And she agrees more with me, an anti-feminist, than her friends who are feminists. And she's, guess what, a girl and a woman who is going into the workplace, the workforce, as soon as she graduates college, in the area of business, where if she earns 77 cents for every dollar that supposedly the wage gap myth perpetuates, then she would be losing a lot of money because in business you earn a lot of money. She thinks it's utter bullshit, and she thinks a lot of the things are petty too. Neither my mom, both my mom and my girlfriend know that I'm an anti-feminist. Neither of them are insulted by it because they know I'm a gender egalitarian. They know I care about equal rights. They know I'm not a sexist. I don't expect my girlfriend to be a stay-at-home mom and stay in the kitchen and make me a sandwich and all this shit. I want my girlfriend to work. I want her to be independent and build up her own life. My mom was a stay-at-home mom from entirely out of choice. She had a job and she could have stayed. My dad would have let her work and stuff and wouldn't have given a shit. He doesn't even have a say. If she wanted to work, she would have worked. Because we're not in a patriarchal society that feminists like to say we are. But my mom is the same way. She doesn't think I'm insulting her or sexist by being an anti-feminist. She understands that the ideas of feminism, supposed gender equality is okay, but their actions display differently. Whether it is in fact for supremacy or not, their actions are not clean. They go for the very petty things. Something like manspreading is never going to take hold in the majority of the world because people are like, who the fuck cares how a man sits if he sits with his legs spread or together? No one gives a shit about that. And so I'm not insulting anyone by being an anti-feminist. I do say insulting things about feminists being an anti-feminist because the feminist movement is highly toxic, and so I oftentimes will insult feminists and point out the bullshit that they say. Now, one last thing I actually wanted to bring up. So basically, in the last part of the comment that he stated was the video. So the video had a thumbnail. It wasn't really a thumbnail. It was a picture. So I downloaded a picture from the internet and put it in the background, and it was one of those things where it has like a face, and then it has like something above the face says something, and then below the face, and it's supposed to be funny. And so basically, it was like this clearly a feminist-looking woman who was very unattractive and had an angry face, and like the thing said, you tells feminist that gender wage gap doesn't exist with facts and data to back it up. Feminist still tells you to shut the fuck up, or something like that. Something that was pretty clever like that. And he was saying that it was an ignorant picture or an ignorant thumbnail. Well, here's the thing about that. That is not ignorant. If you know anything about Tumblr or YouTube or in general internet feminists, that is exactly what they do. Exactly what they do, which is disgusting. But they love to tell people to shut the fuck up, and they love to dodge and ignore data. It's just something they do. And so I just wanted to kind of throw that in there, that this idea that it was an ignorant picture, this is something that happens all the time. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. It's happened to pretty much anyone who speaks out against feminism. Anyone who says the gender wage gap does not exist, this has happened to. This is how feminists love to say shut the fuck up. I mean, if you look up Big Red, the feminist Big Red, she loves saying shut the fuck up. And it's what they do. I guess it makes them feel empowered that they're able to tell people to shut up. I don't know. But I just wanted to throw that in there. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and have a nice day.